Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Christina Steeren with Bullseye Investments, where we help busy professionals create a better financial future through apartment investing without the huge time commitment. And our topic today is, where does cash flow come from? Right? Because you hear about how these multifamily syndication opportunities are awesome because they give you great cash flow, but where does it actually come from? Right? Like, how do they figure out how much each investor gets? We're going to walk through that today. Okay, we're going to go through a lot of terminology and a lot of numbers today, but I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible so that you have a general understanding of how we get to cash on cash returns, or also known as cash flow. Let's start by discussing gross potential income. Gross potential income is the potential amount of money your property can make. So it would be that number that you would make if your property was 100% occupied and every single resident paid their rent on time and in full at the amount that you were hoping to get for that unit. So say you have 100 units and they are renting for an average of $800 a month. That would amount to $80,000 potential income each month, or $960,000 a year. So we have this gross potential income, but the truth of the matter is there's usually some sort of economic vacancy. And economic vacancy is the difference between what you can get potentially and what you actually are getting. Things like an empty unit that's not leased, you're not going to be collecting rent on it. You might have run a special where people get their first month free when they, sign that day. So you might not be getting rent because somebody signed that day and this is their month of free rent. You might have people who are paying partial rent payments, or they're paying late. They have delinquency, or what we consider bad debt from your residents. And something known as loss to lease, which is the difference between what you advertise your apartment units going for and what you actually rent them at, based on a number of factors. So we're going to talk in terms of a year. If your gross potential income annually is $960,000 a year, and your economic vacancy is 10%, right? 10 of those 100 units, and that amounts to $96,000 a year, your net rental income is going to be $864,000 a year. That's how much you are actually bringing in over the course of that year. Now, that's only talking about what you're bringing in. Let's talk about the money that's going out, your operating expenses. These are things that are like paying for your property manager, maintenance, staffing, if that's not handled by your property manager, repairs that might need to be done, taxes that need to be paid, legal and bank fees that you may have accrued or may be accruing because you require the services of a lawyer or specialized services of a bank. All of these things. These are all the costs of running the property. These are the operating expenses. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your net rental income, that $864,000, and you're going to subtract your operating expenses. For the purposes of this example, let's just say it costs $38,000 to run your property every month. So multiply that by 12 months and you get $456,000. So those are your annual operating expenses. So we take that $864,000 and subtract the $456,000 from it. And what is left would be $408,000. That is known as your net operating income. So it's what you have coming in after all of your expenses are paid. Now we take that you subtract the cost of the mortgage for a year, and we're just going to say your mortgage is $20,000 a month or $240,000 a year. And what's left behind is your cash flow or your cash on cash returns, right? So in our example, that would be $168,000 in a year. Now that then gets divided up according to the agreement, right? So if you are invested in a deal where the passive investors get 80% and the sponsorship team gets 20%, 20% of that 168,000 would go to the sponsors. Now, depending on your level of investment, you would get a portion of that 80%, and it would be distributed to you monthly or quarterly or annually, however your syndication is structured. A lot of times you'll see that syndicators anticipate lower cash on cash returns in the beginning as they're upgrading things and optimizing a property, and the longer it's held, they anticipate seeing larger cash on cash returns simply because they've optimized things, projects have finished, the cost of running the property has decreased over time, and the efficiency of the property has increased over time, which means more cash flow for investors. So that's it. The residents pay their rent, we take away all the expenses of operating the property, and what's left over afterwards is divided between the active sponsors and the passive investors. Of course, none of these returns are guaranteed at all. They are projected. So when you're looking at investment documents and you see this pro forma, what they think they can get, you at least have an idea of how they're coming to that number. Now, as always, if something doesn't look right, definitely ask questions. Dig in deeper so that you are completely confident that you understand how and why your syndicators are underwriting a property a certain way. This is going to help you to be very well versed and help you make really wise investing decisions. As always, I hope this was super helpful to you. Feel free to leave a comment below letting us know what the best cash on cash returns you ever received in a prior investment were, or what cash on cash returns are you hoping for in your next investment. Feel free to hit the subscribe button so that you know every single time a new video comes out, and hit like so that other investors who are looking for this information know that this video was super helpful for you. Reach out with any questions you have, and I look forward to talking to you again soon. Have a wonderful day. See y'all. Bye. I want everyone to know my dog is sitting behind me and just whining. Low level whine. Very, very annoying sometimes.